A priest has spoken, and his words are a ticking time bomb. In an exclusive interview, he openly denounces the bishops. He says they have betrayed Christ, that they are silent in the face of evil, and that a storm is coming. But there is more, much more. What is about to be revealed concerns every Catholic. Stay until the end. This video could change the way you look at the Church. During a recent interview with LifeSite News, the controversial but increasingly listened to Dr. James Altman spoke words that shake the already fragile balance of the American Church to its foundations. At the center of his accusations, Cardinal Robert McElroy, a close collaborator of Pope Francis and a leading figure in the progressive episcopate. The very essence of evil, Altman said, without hesitation. Perhaps the worst prelate we have in the United States. An accusation that leaves no room for interpretation nor for diplomatic denials. Altman, known for his harsh criticism of modernist bishops and doctrinal deviations, used very harsh tones, accusing McElroy not only of promoting anti-Catholic ideologies, but also of having played an active role in the cover-up of very serious cases, including episodes of satanic ritual abuse. The interview, recorded during a public event and broadcast by LifeSite News, has already gone viral, with Altman seen as one of the few voices willing to say what many remain silent about out of fear or convenience. The target, McElroy, has repeatedly been at the center of controversy for his positions on gender, abortion, and synodality, but never before had he been addressed with such verbal violence by a brother in the priesthood. The silence of the Episcopal Conference on these accusations is deafening. But the climate in the American Church is now explosive, and this could be just the first visible crack in a dam ready to give way. Altman spoke without filters, openly denouncing what he calls the complicity of silence among the American bishops, guilty, he said, of having betrayed Christ and his gospel. According to the priest, the McElroy case is not isolated, but rather represents the visible pinnacle of a corrupt hierarchy closely tied to worldly powers and economic interests. You can't be Catholic and support the Democratic Party platform, he said, noting that McElroy is openly aligned with political and moral positions that conflict with Catholic doctrine. Altman went so far as to say that Cardinal McElroy not only covered up cases of abuse, but protected priests involved in satanic rituals performed during Holy Mass. A terrifying accusation, which echoes rumors and accusations that have already appeared in recent years but have never been officially confirmed. And then they make him a cardinal. They put him in charge of Washington. But how can you not see the betrayal? For many believers, these words have the bitter ring of a truth that has been kept silent for too long. For others, they are rhetorical excesses on the part of a priest already at odds with the hierarchy. The silence of the bishops in the face of certain deviations, he affirmed, is no longer simple cowardice, but active complicity with evil. According to the priest, the lack of concrete reactions by prelates in the face of scandals, such as the one cited, is not a sign of prudence, but of a mutual protection network that keeps the guilty safe and punishes those who dare to speak out. He then cited the case of Bishop Strickland, the only one, according to Altman, to have publicly defended Catholic truth without bending to compromise. All the others, he said, are guilty at least by omission. No one had the courage to defend Strickland when he was removed. No one raised their voice. Why? Because they are all part of the same system. The tone of the interview increasingly took on the characteristics of a collective indictment, until it reached a proposal that, until recently, would have seemed unthinkable: to use legal tools such as the RICO Act. The aim is to prosecute some diocesan episcopates accused not only of cover-ups, but of corrupt management of church funds, collusion with political entities, and in some cases, tolerance of human trafficking networks at the borders. Altman called all of this an incoming tsunami, a spiritual but also public and judicial reckoning that he said can no longer be stopped. The time for formal documents and press conferences is over. Now is the time for direct action, for truth told with courage, even if it costs. The priest then recalled moments that he defined as prophetic, recounting how apparently casual events led to decisive encounters, spiritual revelations, and messages that, in his opinion, confirm the gravity of the current ecclesial crisis. During the interview, Altman shared a particularly poignant episode. An exorcist allegedly transmitted to him a message in Aramaic attributed to the Madonna herself. According to this message, God is very angry with the bishops for having closed churches during the pandemic, preventing the faithful from receiving Holy Communion. You are the voice of his wrath, the message to him read, and God is well pleased. A revelation that Dr. Altman welcomed as confirmation of his prophetic role within a church torn apart by internal betrayal. He accused the bishops of bowing to state dictates out of fear of lawsuits and loss of insurance coverage. They closed the churches not out of prudence, but out of cowardice, he said, and out of fear of losing money. But the supermarkets were open. Only Mass was forbidden. Altman stressed that believers must stop blindly following their pastors, especially when it is evident that the latter are no longer following Christ. It doesn't matter what your bishop says. It matters what the gospel says, and if he betrays it, you are the one who has to correct him. The priest then urged Catholics to return to true doctrine, to study the faith, to refuse compromise, and to remain in a state of grace. Because, he said, punishment is at the door. According to Altman, the Church is moving toward an inevitable divine intervention, and those who are lukewarm or unaware will be overwhelmed, like the foolish virgins of the gospel. Continuing the interview, Dr. Altman issued a stark warning. If you do not know your faith, you will be deceived. It is a duty to learn it, not an option. He openly accused the bishops of having deliberately miseducated entire generations of Catholics, replacing the catechism with empty slogans, doctrine with personal opinions, and the sacred with the indistinct. We find ourselves with a visible church led by men who no longer believe in the God of revelation. They do not believe in divine justice, in judgment, much less in hell. The tone has become increasingly apocalyptic. According to Altman, we are facing an unprecedented crisis of faith, in which the shepherds have stopped leading and have become wolves among the sheep. Everything still seems calm, but anyone with eyes to see understands that the collapse is imminent. He then harshly criticized the faithful who continue to finance compromised dioceses. If you put a cent in the collection basket of a bishop who betrays the faith, you are an accomplice. Stop supporting those who deceive you. It is time to choose which side to be on. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment, Amen. God bless you.